Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, for me, as you all know, if you've watched the show for any amount of time, this time of year, I'm solely focused on one thing, and that's chasing ducks. It's just that simple. A lot of folks don't like that. I don't really know why, but in the end, that's really what I care about right now. And it's been that way for a very long time. Water is starting to show up, except birds, unfortunately. And yes, I keep a lot of what I do each week close to my chest. This is not fishing. I get a little bit of flack from some folks out there that I don't give up more info. And really, the best thing I can say there is that you got to put your time in, your effort, your fuel, the miles, the dog work. I mean, there is so much that comes into play to try to find where you can be successful. It doesn't matter where it is. It's just not something that amount of effort that you can just give up, okay? I don't mean to say it any other way. But once you do put your time and effort in, you can be successful. Now that we've got more water in the area, it's changing ponds, lakes, river systems. All that stuff is good, right? We need more water, and it looks like when we talk with Carly here in just a little bit, we got even more coming this upcoming week. Now, there is a limit, right? You don't want to get to the point where everything's flooded, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen, but again, we'll find out more from Carly on that in just a bit. The thing is, we've got some water that showed up, but the ducks haven't. At least where I'm spending my time in, about a 100-mile radius, I guess. I've been able to find some, and then you go back the next day, and they're gone. It's until we get a real push of birds to head down, and they are stalled out. If you don't have friends or contacts that are up north of us, there are some birds up there. They're just not leaving. And even then, the folks I talk to that are up in that northern area, northern-ish area, they're waiting on birds to show up. So it's an interesting year. It's been frozen in Canada for 2 weeks at least now. So we should start to see something fresh starting to show up. But every year is different. You need weather to push them down. And then, of course, you need food and water for them to stay. Now, that might be part of what we've seen, having such a lack of water for so long in the first month of the season. It's very likely that a lot of birds have gotten by us and have headed down, meaning the areas that I'm spending my time in. But I have been able to find them. I've gone through 3 tanks of fuel on my little duck boat trying to do it, and a couple of wasted days. Not wasted. They're educational. You kind of get a grip of what's going on in a particular area. And at least I was able to put it together on one particular day this week, and here's my one success photo. And it's not that if I shot teal, which I typically don't, I could have had, a couple of decent days this week, but I'm trying to stick with finding the mallards. And then, of course, the widgeon and pintail kind of, end up in the same area. But at the very least, it was nice to see some mallards, right? That took 2 days of just covering ground. And then this particular day was praying that I got my boat off the ground so that I could get out of there and go someplace where I saw the birds going. So it's a lot of effort, a lot of time, and all of you duck hunters out there know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not fishing. You better be motivated. It's just that simple. But it was a great day. And Drago, well, he had a great day as well. Hopefully that'll continue as we go forward. Now, you can leave that success photo up if you want. Fishing reports, super slim, not a lot going on, and that's just that time of year. We just showed you a photo of right there by the Klickitat. That's been really the only report that I've been getting. The crowds have been really winding down for a number of reasons. Fishing's still been holding on. The folks that we talk, at least that I talk to each week that live up there in that area, that's really their one thing, right? But if you like to spend your time along the coast, it's been interesting. It's all about river conditions, getting blown out, dropping back into shape. Is it fishable? Is it not fishable? Seems like there's some fish around. Same reminder that I was given this week that I've mentioned here a couple of times over the last month. Leave the fish alone when you get up into the upper sections of any river system along the coast. Those fish were spawning, or at least attempting to. So just leave them alone if you get up into the higher sections of the river. And hopefully most of you are aware of what I'm referring to. The best bite, though, on the coast has been the rivers that have big runs of chum. I'm going to leave the name off. A lot of you should know that if you spend time doing that. Been really good. It's a catch and release fishery, of course, but it's certainly a fun thing to do. And every so often you can run across a keeper, meaning a chrome Chinook. But all that's starting to wind down. Start paying a lot more attention to this upcoming winter steelhead season. This is the time to get prepped up. This is the time to head over to Fisherman's, get the rods, reels, the gear, the line, everything that it is that you want through that February, March timeline. Because once you get into the middle of it, and you all love to mention it, all that stuff starts to disappear, becomes hard to acquire. So this is the time to get it, so that you don't run into that situation where you might not have any of that gear that you want to have. River levels, though, very interesting. Columbia, it is nice to see it bounce a little bit, but if you start looking at some of the smaller rivers, you're going to see some really interesting numbers here. It doesn't matter, again, if it's in the valley or along the coast. This is what's going to be going on. You're going to have a little bit of a drop and then a rise, a drop and a rise. And some of these rivers are just huge right now. I mean, just on the coast, this is just your perfect reference there. On the Wilson, it is, yeah, it's in the 6s, but it might as well just be a torrent river. I mean, it's ripping at that timeline, or excuse me, at that level, and clarity is going to be an issue. So you're going to have to really start watching these if you're going to try to get in on some of those late Chinook, or of course, if you're going to be paying attention going forward the next month or so for steelhead. Last week I did mention that there's been a report or two of steelhead getting caught already. Somebody did send a photo in, but I can't confirm it, so we're not going to be showing it. But it is possible that there's a steelhead around, but in the end, you're going to be picking on old Chinook, maybe some fresh ones that are still showing up, but typically, you're going to be working on darkfish. So you got to kind of weigh your options there. But river levels are everything. You got a ton of water in those rivers right now, so you're, depending on what happens this upcoming week, you could be a week away from having prime conditions, although we've said this before in the past, prime is not always prime. Sometimes people just think it is. In the end, I'd rather have high off color than too low and too clear, but that's just me. But we're going to find out what this rain's going to do this upcoming week. But remember, I even have him here in person. Jason Hambley, send him an email over at Procure, jason@procure.com, and you need to enter in each week, okay? His own words, when you get 180, 200 plus, entries each weekend, you can't hold on to them. It's each week you need to enter in to be entered in for this prize pack. Right now, it is set up for steelhead. We truly do appreciate them facilitating this giveaway in this format. It's a little bit different than our old way, as a lot of you are aware of and like to remind me of, but they put that on each week for everyone. So hopefully you get lucky and Jason picks you, or how does that go? I don't have time. I don't want to talk about it. Somebody's going to get mad. I don't know. Let's go ahead and check in with Carly Olson and find out what this weather's going to do. And Carly, once again, you did it perfect. You called it perfect for this past week, but it looks like we've got an atmospheric river showing up.
We do, and that's the tricky thing this week to predict. Models are not quite in agreement as to how much rainfall we will see when the atmospheric river hits Tuesday through Thursday. But what we do know for right now, let's focus on that. Our temperatures, our highs for the day here in Portland will be right around 47 degrees, lower to mid 50s over on the coast, and lower 40s to upper 40s over in eastern Oregon. Now in eastern Oregon, they'll see a bit of a wintry mix as well, though not expecting any of that snow to really stick due to those temperatures. But in terms of rainfall, we're expecting a little bit of rain to start hitting Portland right around 11. Now it should already be hitting the coast at this time of day. They'll probably just start to see some lighter rains, although as I understand it, there is a flood watch over on the coast at the moment, and also a chance for some king tides as well. So do be careful if you're over on the coast. Those light rains should last us here in Portland, though, throughout the day. They'll definitely build up in intensity overnight. And then in the morning tomorrow, we're expecting a low pressure system that's going to bring some heavier rains throughout the day tomorrow, and about an inch of rain accumulating tomorrow throughout the day as well. We'll get a bit of a break from that consistent rain later in the afternoon, and then on Monday we'll just have some mixed showers here and there. And then for the rest of the week, temperatures will be in the mid 40s up to the lower 50s, so a bit of a chillier week compared to what we've seen. Once again, Tuesday through Thursday, we're not entirely sure how much rain we will see from that atmospheric river, but I can tell you it's anywhere between a couple inches to several inches. So hopefully we'll know more as we get closer.
Yeah, that's a lot of water. I mean, really, in the end, that's just that's a big push of rain coming into the area. It looks like it's going to be a lot more mountain snow, though, as well.
Yes, that is right. Yes, there is actually going to be a winter storm warning starting tomorrow morning at 10, lasting through 10 at night on Monday as well. And the passes themselves could see up to 2 feet of snow over the next several days. So be careful if if you're making those travel plans.
Oh, absolutely. And for those that love to go skiing and snowboarding, get your gear ready. Geez. Carly, thank you as always. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow morning. It's all good stuff. It doesn't matter how we get the water. We need it. And for, again, all of you that are paying attention to our upcoming winter steelhead season or, again, still chasing Chinook, all that snow in the mountain gets you the water for January and February. I can't wait to watch the bobber sink a little bit. Anyway, all right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, I'm going to have Jason Hambley from Procure. We're talking about nothing but eggs. Okay, we've talked with Jason many times. You've seen him on a number of different television shows out there talking about eggs. Today, though, I want to talk about, just the last 3 weeks of chasing Chinook around on the coast, but what he likes to do better, or I shouldn't even say it that way, what he likes to do with his eggs to make them better for winter steelhead fishing in particular. We'll be back with that in just a couple of minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.